I said, whatever they're accusing Diddy of, he did that shit. But I was wrong. You see, Cassie wasn't nothing but a freak. She was... Now Cassie would be salivating at the mouth when she saw that jailhouse dick. One day he got a call and he came in the hotel room and there was another gentleman there. And when he realized that it was multiple penises in Cassie's face and she was gobbling them down like a hungry hippo, that he no longer saw her as the innocent woman that she was. She was a freakazoid demon.
You are now tuned in to the Little Flair Lounge with your host, Big Just LaFlair. Motherfucker.
You are watching a master at work.
Hey man, I'll admit it. When I first saw Diddy beating Cassie in that hallway, I said, whatever they're accusing Diddy of, he did that shit. But I was wrong. You see, Cassie wasn't nothing but a freak. She was... Thank you, Ludacris. She was a freakazoid that loved being in a toxic relationship, that loved doing drugs, and she loved BBCs. Now, shout out to the Art of Dialogue, whose content we're going to be using today, because he did an interview with one of the male escorts named Clayton Howard, and he's going to start from the beginning as to how he met Diddy and Cassie. And if you want to see the full video, just hit the description box and I'll drop that link down below for you.
I'm gonna be honest, I used to be out there, you know, like I lived a very different life than I live right now. I got into some trouble in my early 20s, so they sent me to prison, and when I got out, you know, I was in amazing shape. You know, the jail glow, big arms, big shoulders, six-pack abs. I had no problem getting women. So I was sleeping with this woman that I had like met in Manhattan or something, and she actually owned an independent agency that managed escorts. You know, from basically busting her back down, she's like, yo, you are amazing. You realize you can make money from this. So, you know, I think she's just gassing me. I'm like, baby, whatever. She's like, no, I'm serious. Look at your body. You're amazing in bed. She's like, yo, I could make money for you. What's up? And I'm like, get out of here with this. So she's coming at me for weeks with this art, weeks. Again, I had just came home. I'm trying to get a job. I don't want to, you know, go back to selling rock. So I had the idea to sell cock. I was like, you know what? Let's try it. You know, post me up. So let's see what happens. So she posts me up, and immediately I start getting calls from like older white couples, married men with wives, late 40s, early 50s. It would turn out that would be my niche, you know, older white women love an in-shape, dark-skinned black man. And it was pretty profitable for a while. I want to say 60 days in is when I got the call from Cassie. Calling the woman through the agency that hired me independently. She calls me up. She says, listen, this girl saw your pictures and she's in love. She wants you to come over. I'm like, word? Shorty tells me the girl sounds like she looks amazing. I said, all right, give her my number. Let me talk to her. Whatever. She sends me Cassie's number. She gives Cassie my number. Before I could even call Cassie, Cassie calls me. Hey, what's up? Dave? Yeah, what's going on? She's like, yo, I saw your pictures. I like what I saw. Is that really your, you know, manhood? Yeah, that's mine. She's like, all right, I'm in the London hotel in New York. You want to come see me? We go through the subtleties and I'm called to the London. That's the first time I meet Cassie.
Now Cassie would be salivating at the mouth when she saw that jailhouse dick. Yeah, she wanted all of it. But for her to get D'd down by that Mandingo warrior, she first had to introduce Diddy because he had to be in the room to watch the whole thing.
She tells me that her husband is there and he wants to watch. Now, prior to this, she never told me she was with anyone else. She tells me at this point that he's there, he's cool, he's into her being satisfied by guys that are larger than him. He's really into the lifestyle. She starts to explain to me that they're swingers. They do their little, like swinging stuff. She asked me, did I have a problem with him watching? Now, considering my past clients, I had no problem with him watching because I had done this with the 3 or 4. I actually think I had like 5 solid clients by then. And usually when husbands called me to give me their wives, they usually watched the first encounter if it went to a sexual encounter. So they would basically sit in the room and watch to make sure their wife is safe. So when, Cassie said this to me, I was kind of, I want to say, numb to the situation of someone watching me from a voyeur standpoint. So I said, cool, no problem. And he came down. He was really quiet. He had his face covered with a baseball cap. I think it was Pittsburgh because it had a yellow P on it, and his bandana wrapped around his nose and his mouth. He spoke to me like, yeah. I said, yeah. Barely said a word. Immediately grabbed a bottle of baby oil, went to the dark corner, sat in the corner. Cassie comes up to me. She starts talking to me, complimenting my body, my chest. She asked Diddy, can she begin? Can she touch me? He told her no, put the baby oil on. And that was my education that night into how the next 8 years would be.
Now, Clayton, who went by the name Dave at the time, said that he thought that him, Cassie, and Diddy were just kind of having an exclusive thing because Diddy wasn't able to fulfill all of her physical needs because his package wasn't all the way there. Hey, you can only work with what God blessed you with. And he said that one day he got a call and he came in the hotel room and there was another gentleman there. And when he realized that it was multiple penises in Cassie's face and she was gobbling them down like a hungry hippo, that he no longer saw her as the innocent woman that she was. She was a freakazoid demon.
Truth is, the only time I was ever told or given a name for what these was is the time that me, the first guy who testified, Daniel Phillip, and Diddy actually ran a train on Cassie. And Diddy himself and Cassie called it a sexathon, but they never called it a freak off. The first, I've heard freak offs, because I'm from the hood. People, we all know what freak offs is. But I've never heard it like commercially, publicly, as far as with this case, until I started hearing this and with Cassie put in the lawsuit and the fact that the U.S. Attorney's Office was marketing him as making these freak offs.
So Daniel Phillips, he had an orgy with Diddy and Cassie, and they called it a sexathon?
Yes, Diddy and Cassie themselves referred it to a sexathon, but they called me. Daniel Phillip was already there. Cassie actually calls me and she's like, yo, do you mind watching me with another guy? And I did, because I had never been involved with her and someone else. I kind of really thought it was a monogamous situation. Diddy was not well endowed and she just needed somebody to fill her and satisfy her. So I really believed at this time that was my role, that I was only being called in because this rich and powerful guy could not satisfy his woman. It wasn't until I got in this freak off that I saw her like in front of Daniel Phillip and Diddy with two penises in her face that I was realizing like, wow, this chick is not what you think. It was actually a little hurtful, I'll be honest. It was a little heartbreaking when I had to walk in there and see her with penises in her face and to be completely engaged in it, like, oh, like she loves it. I'm gonna be honest with you, I did look at her different.
Now, one of the things that I always wondered was how did these sexathons, aka freak offs, last days at a time? Well, Mr. Clayton would give us the rundown on that, and he would explain how they would take breaks for 30 minutes, come back, have sex, take another break for 2 hours, come back, have sex. He basically said that Cassie had a bionic kitty cat. Yeah, she had the stamina of David Goggins.
And you said this lasted 2 days, right?
It lasted 2 days, about a day and a half, 2 days.
How does that work? Because I know y'all not having sex for 2 days straight. So what is y'all doing in between time?
It's in like stages or what you want to call like sessions. So let's say like in that encounter, I remember specifically like myself, Daniel Phillip, and Diddy might, all three run a train on her. She gets a little exhausted, so she needs a break. They go into the master suite. Me and Daniel Phillip wait in the other room until they're ready again. So basically what happens is you have the session until Cassie has an orgasm. Once Cassie has an orgasm, she usually needs a break. So she'll retire to the master suite, and we're forced to pretty much sit there and wait till she's recuperated enough to come back for another orgasm. And that's how it would last 2-3 days. Let's say we had sex with her for an hour or two. She might take an hour and a half break. She'll come back, she wants some more. Then she might go take a 2 or 3 hour break. She'll come back, she wants some more. That's pretty much how it went so long.
Listen, man, Clayton was D'ing Cassie down so good that she had to get to know a little bit more about the brother. Yeah, she was texting him behind Diddy's back, asking him, hey, what's your sign? Oh, we got the same birthday. Listen, things are meant to be. She was falling in love with that man. and Diddy had to put a stop to it after going through her phone.
Man. And Diddy, he got mad at you because you was having sex with Cassie behind his back, right?
No, I never had sex with her behind his back. She was contacting me behind his back. After a while, the sex got really good after a while. So, as a woman, as a human being, she wants to connect with the person that's making her feel like this. We had a lot in common. Her birthday's August 26th. My birthday's August 26th. So we're both Virgos. She's really into astrology. So, us just being people who believe in certain things. Imagine meeting a woman and you having sex with her and it's great. And then one day you find out you and her are born on the same day. That's something that you're going to be like, wow, is this a coincidence? So I think that's what kind of really strengthened our relationship to the point where she started to want to know more about me. So she would contact me, tell me how great the sex was, ask me for penis pictures, just ask me what I was doing during the day. And this actually went on, I want to say, for 6 or 8 months until I saw Diddy and her maybe 6 or 8 months into this. And I walk into the suite and like the first thing he does is he presses me, walks up to me in my face like, yo, man, why you texting my girl behind my back? So, I kind of back up like, what are you talking about? He's like, yo, I went through her phone. It's texting there. Y'all not supposed to be texting. This is something that's a swinging activity for me and her. You shouldn't be trying to get at her behind me. I'm like, dude, no, I'm not. She's texting me, bro. I'm not texting her. And if you got a problem with me texting her, I won't answer no more. So Cassie stepped in. She admitted that she was texting me. She claimed she told him that she was texting me to build up desire for the fantasies for the next time we saw each other. But Diddy wasn't trying to hear that. He said, listen, dude, don't answer my girl if she texts you. You don't text him again. So he basically put us both on notice not to contact each other without him.
Now, Clayton would get into things about how he actually saw some domestic violence, but he said that the domestic violence usually didn't happen unless Cassie was trying to play Diddy about the size of his package. Again, you can only work with what you were blessed with, but the diddler was highly insecure. He was very competitive when it came to D'ing down his woman, trying to compete with the professional escort. Hey, I don't know what the hell was on Diddy's mind, but this is where they were at with it.
And you said that Cassie, she'd disrespect Diddy when it came to his penis size, right?
Not directly, but inadvertently, yes. Like she would laugh at him after she and I had sex. She might smirk at him. Let's say she and I had an encounter and he tried to get on top of her after that. The comparison of the two inside of her was probably noticeably different. So a few times she would catch him smirking, laughing, stuff like that. And he asked her like, yo, what's so funny? And let's say she didn't give him the right answer. He'll kick her. He'll push her. That's really where the domestic violence came from. The domestic violence came from the fact that she would emasculate him. She would do things that let him know he had a small penis, that she really wasn't trying to hear what he was saying. Diddy's an arrogant, petty dude, bro. He's not trying to hear that. He's super competitive. He believes he's supposed to be in control. So his woman trying to like embarrass him in front of me is a no-no. That's why he used to hit her.
Now remember, I'm only showing these things to y'all because I'm trying to show you guys how Cassie was the one enjoying herself, fulfilling her own desires. This was far from sex trafficking. She was not forced, coerced, anything into doing this. Actually, it sounds like Diddy was doing these things for her pleasure first and his pleasure second. Now, he enjoyed himself, but this was more so about Cassie. And he even said how Cassie had a request that he couldn't fulfill. Yeah, he wasn't a fan of the golden shower movement.
Definitely.
And Cassie, she used to ask you to urinate on her, right?
Oh, she asked me to urinate her for about 1.5 years, dude.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, every time I saw her, she would beg me to urinate her, to tell me how she likes it to trickle down her chest. She likes the warm feeling as it goes over her breast. And in the beginning, I didn't really know her as well as I knew her as the relationship developed. So I'm a good bullshitter. I would be like, oh, I don't want to do this today. Oh, I can't pee because I got a shy bladder. You got to cut water on or something like that, just to make her think I couldn't do it. But the truth is, it's disgusting, bro. Like, what man wants to have sex with a woman after you urinate on them? I'm from the projects. People used to piss in the staircase. I know piss smells once it gets old. It's yellow. It's nasty. It's nothing sexy about urine. So I told her this after maybe a year of her asking me. I just got tired of it. I said, yo, why do you keep asking me to urinate on you? Do you really like that? So she breaks it down to me again, how she likes the warm urine going over her chest and flowing down her breast over her nipples. Like, she was really descriptive to the extent where I could tell she was into this. But I remember I looked at it and I said, yo, check this out. If you want me to urinate on you, we're not going to have sex, because that does not turn me on. It's nasty. Honestly, I would never sleep with a woman who had urine on her. It's freaking disgusting. So if you want to have sex, fine. We're not going to urinate. But if I urinate on you, we're not going to have sex. She said, damn, that's all you had to say, because I definitely want to have sex. So now Diddy comes in the room. He asks her what we're talking about. She says, oh, he doesn't want to urinate on me because it turns him off. Diddy asked her what you feel about that. She said, I want to have sex with him. He doesn't have to urinate on me. And they never asked me again.
Now, in this last clip, Mr. Clayton talked about how disgusting and unsanitary Cassie was, and she was literally using her snatch box as a cum collector. Speaking of cum collector, they actually collected Clayton's cum. And this would go on to show that maybe Cassie wasn't lying when she said that Diddy liked a little nipple play with another man's jizz, because apparently she kept on asking him, please just dump it in a cup for me. I'll give you $2,000. And he said, all right, you got that. And then they would go off into the master bedroom and never to be seen again. And he's saying maybe that's because
to work. I mean, like, we having sex for days and I'm dumping it up, bro. She not cleaning up, taking a shower. She not doing none of that, bro. Thinking about it now, I feel really nasty, because I realize how much the drugs Molly and E affect your psyche, where you're not conscious of certain things you're doing. But those freak offs used to be kind of nasty, because for like days I would be coming in Cassie and she wouldn't even wash. She would just be walking around the room like it was regular.
And Cassie, she was the one collecting your sperm, right?
That started in the beginning again also, bro. I remember specifically, like, the first time it happened, I was using condoms with Cassie when they were asking me for the semen. So I remember she asked me, like, when you finish, you think you could come in the cup. And I was like, why? And she says, oh, I like to play with it. I like to drink it. He likes to see me do things with it. So I actually thought she was playing. I didn't think she was serious. But as we were involved in the encounter and it was getting longer and longer, she kept asking me, like, are you going to come? Are you going to come? Are you going to give it to me? And I said, oh my God, she's really serious. She really wants me to do this. So she asked me so much, I remember it started bothering me. And I was like, yo, you really want me to give you, like, see, I said, I can't do that. I was like, why you want my DNA? I'm not really comfortable with that. And I'll be honest, they offered me like $2,000 to give him the semen in the cup. So, bro, I gave it to him. It really wasn't no brainer once they said that. I was like, you want 2 stacks for my semen? Hold on a second. Yoink it out, give it right to him. Here you go. So I want to say comfortably for maybe a year and a half, they were paying me to collect semen. Cassie would collect it in a wine glass, a shot glass, and a whiskey glass, whatever glass we had available. And then and it's funny because I thought about it years later, how she would collect the semen in the cup and Diddy would be trailing right behind her like a little kid who mommy had the juice in his hand or something. You know what I'm saying? So when I heard the trial and her say she used to put the semen on his nipple, I'm gonna be honest, it made sense. Because I'm like, yo, that's why he was so thirsty following her in the room every time she took the semen. The semen was for him. It wasn't for her. So that I definitely believe. Because every time she used to take my semen, I swear to you, bro, Diddy would be behind her like a little kid in the room as quick as he could, closing the door. So yeah, that was weird. But eventually I stopped because we started having unprotected sex and she started to ask me to come in her. You dealing with these drugs, Art. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna take accountability. I should have made better decisions. I was younger. I was thirsty for the money. She's a beautiful woman, and I was high off of these, like sexual inducing drugs. So I made some bad decisions, and I just, started giving her what she want. I slept with her so long. I'm not catching any diseases. She's showing me paperwork. You want me to dump on you, baby? No problem. She's telling me she's on the pill, so I'm doing it. Worst mistake I ever made, bro. If I could take it back, God, I wish I could take it back, bro.
Hey, man, I'm gonna just keep this short and sweet. all that was going on was a whole bunch of freaky shit, man. I don't see sex trafficking. I think the feds didn't do any justice to the situation by being thirsty and trying to trump up the charges. Diddy was a horrible human being as far as domestic violence, his insecurities. He beat on Cassie. Hey, he may have even groomed her into being the freak that she was. But there was no sex trafficking going on. These was sex plays, sexathons that they had to fulfill her fantasy first and foremost. She even disrespected this man for his shortcomings. That don't sound like she was being forced to do anything. That sounds like she had her own ego. Hell, they was tag teaming her, all kind of stuff. Everybody know a little freak in the hood that, you know what I'm saying, was up to no good. But they took it to new heights because they had the money, the access to all the drugs, and they became toxic. What else happens when you're having fueled sex parties with hella drugs? Some toxic shit. I ain't never seen a junkie ain't hit his hoe. You feel me? Hey, listen, I don't mean that I like that. I'm just saying, like, what do you think is gonna happen? And she stayed because she liked it. Hell, she liked a lot of things that she probably shouldn't have liked. So I'm gonna just leave it at that, man. Cassie was the mastermind, and we're just now seeing it. And Diddy, he got off on some charges that he probably didn't deserve to have. They probably should have hit him with some domestic violence and just got him up out of there, man. That's really the honest to God truth. So y'all let me know what y'all think down below, man. Do y'all think that Cassie was the freak of the week, or do y'all think that she actually was a victim here? The victim with immunity. She probably should have been in jail with Diddy, honestly. They both should be facing these charges. That's just what it is. How do you go from being a goddamn victim to the demon, or the demon to the... Listen, whatever, man. Hey, listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, hit that notification bell, and click somewhere on the screen if you want to see how Celtics legend Paul Pierce ethered a relationship therapist who's really a whore. Hey, we out, baby. Boom! Just LaFleur.
It's him.